This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're gonna acknowledge me.
Well, everybody, WrestleMania is coming on, and now the Raw after WrestleMania is also in the books, as Las Vegas is now cleared of professional wrestling. It feels like they've been there for weeks, but it's now time to move on. But we've got a lot to get to. A massive Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Not exactly the return or two that many of us expected. We're going to get into that because, in fact, we'll open the show with it in just a minute. Specifically, The Rock, which has been making the rounds. And while it's a hot topic, I want to give you my opinion on that. I gave you some of it on my WrestleMania Night 2 review if you took a listen to that. But we have even more, as The Rock went on the Pat McAfee show earlier today and gave his explanation as to why he was not at WrestleMania 41. Really a nonsensical reason. And we'll get to that. I'll put some audio on the show so you don't have to just hear me. You'll hear The Rock and his response to Pat McAfee, and a very political response, right? A lot of times dodging around the issue, but boy, oh boy, this is, to me, kind of soured a lot of the goodwill that I think the fans have with Dwayne. It not in a good heel way either, in a way that just causes distrust. That's not what you're looking for as a heel, right? And we're going to get to that momentarily. But first, I want to welcome you guys to the show. Thank you. And if you want to go ad-free, Patreon is the place to go, or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. All of them offer ad-free experiences. So let's do it, man. Let's dive into The Rock. Let me just allow you to hear some of his audio. Not going to play the full clip at once. I'll do it a little bit in piece by piece and give you my thoughts on his explanation for why he was not at WrestleMania 41, straight from the Pat McAfee show. So here, take a listen.
As we got closer to Elimination Chamber, we were kicking ideas around, myself and Triple H, and that's the fun part, by the way. I've been kicking ideas around with Triple H for 20 years, dude. Just always having a great time with him and Nick and my team as well. And Triple H said, you know, what about this? What about John turning? I said, I love it. I love it. The next question is, you got to talk to John, see how he feels about it. And, you know, in a moment where you have this shift and click moment, and it happened to me when I was a pure baby face. I got booed out of the building around the world, and they took the title off me my rookie year, and they sent me home the summer of 97. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew this is not going to work for me. I don't even know if I have a future in pro wrestling. I get a call from Vince and says, I'm going to bring you back as a heel and be part of the Nation of Domination. I said, that's great. I love it. But just give me 2 minutes on the microphone to speak from the heart. And he did that, and things changed immediately that night. It's the same thing with John. John loved this idea of turning heel, but he's like, but you know what? There's an anchor here that I'm going to root it in, which is a real thing that I've been experiencing over the years, past 20, 25 years. So when we were moving forward with John, and this idea of him getting crowned at WrestleMania and becoming 17 and turning heel, and then being a heel champion, I knew then the best thing for the final boss, we've established this idea of Cody's soul. We can always come back to it. I did feel, and I made the call, I don't want to be involved in that. Step back. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John. Let it go to Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul eventually or John's soul.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there. All right. So he gives a little background, a little bit of an analogy of himself and his heel turn. Of course, not nearly the same thing, but he talks about the heel turn and how it was evolved and how John Cena it originated from Triple H, and The Rock concurred, and here we go, right? So fine. And John Cena, by the way, his heel turn, I still don't have an issue with it. But like so many, while it actually may be coming from a real place from John, I still have a trouble buying it. It's weird, and he may truly believe it, but his babyface character still feels more authentic, and maybe because he's been doing that for 25 years. Whereas this heel character, again, I don't disagree with the decision. I'm not sad they didn't. I'd rather have them do it and have it kind of be lackluster than have the always wonder issue. So I still don't hate it. I don't. And I still stand by and agree with their decision to turn John Cena heel. But this feeling of, and I can't shake it, of I don't buy what he's saying. I don't believe that he believes what he's saying. And that's weird coming from Cena, who's one of the greatest promos of all time. Again, maybe he's not used to showing this side of him. Maybe he doesn't quite know where to go. It feels like rinse and repeat with him and the fans. I don't know. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm still on board for it. I'm not crapping on it. It just feels a little less authentic than his babyface, character that he's been doing since 2002, more or less. So that's the whole John Cena thing. But this is where he starts talking about the final boss going back into the shadows, not making it about me. Well, here's the problem there, Rock. Problem is you made it all about you. In fact, John Cena's turn is intricately intertwined with you. Why? You signaled for him to do what he did, and he did it at Elimination Chamber. You guys locked eyes. You gave the signal, and you did it. So what are you talking about? That it shouldn't be about the final boss. Let John Cena and Cody and all the... No. Now, he's talking about, I don't want it to be about Cody Soul or John Soul. We can come back to that. No. We're not coming back to that. We're already here. We're already doing this. You started this program at Elimination Chamber. So what you doing? It's WrestleMania season. This isn't the time to skip over. It's not Money in the Bank. Hell, it's not even SummerSlam. It's not Survivor Series. It's not even the Rumble. All of those would be bad enough if you had a big storyline that you missed a step and didn't decide at a big event to continue the story. WrestleMania is a different animal. That's where things really escalate. That's where things come to a head. It's not the time to be dancing around stuff. I'm not saying everything needs to end and have a full conclusion. No. But you should have a major step forward in whatever story you're telling. And instead, again, as you guys heard on my WrestleMania Night 2 review, we get Travis Scott as the big interference for that match. A dude that has no business being in the ring, or even... He should be banned from even saying the words professional wrestling. He should be immediately put under arrest. Much less getting in the ring and having a say-so in the match, which, by the way, also, what is it? Why is he even here? That's never been explained. He's never said anything. Nothing has been ever explained. And you have Austin available. He lives in Vegas. And instead of having him, crash his ATV a couple of times, you could have had him actually do something productive and have him stun The Rock. He talks about it's not about... No, actually, Rock, you're the biggest star in the world. While we're not building the company around you, you can't just start these programs and then dip out. And then talk, well, it's about the younger, it's not about me. No. You made it about yourself. We're interested. We're there. And now you're telling us, well, no, it's about... That's not how storytelling works, dude. So let's continue. There's more here, so here we go.
No, let's let them do what they do. And I called John after Elimination Chamber, spoke to him, called Cody, and I said, I think the final boss's work is done. We've established it. We just pulled off the greatest angle in the history of professional wrestling, other than Hulk Hogan turning heel back in the 90s. I said, this is amazing. We have 6 weeks. Now, let's build. You guys go and crush it, and I'll be right there with you, and I'm always here if you need me, but I think it's best for the final boss not to be involved in that finish. You guys go. So they had 6 weeks to plan for that. So I love the finish of the match. I I would have finessed things a little differently on how they got there.
Yeah, you think? You think? Gee, what's the missing ingredient there, Dwayne? And I hate to be serving his ego, but you belong there. We all know you belong there. You can try to twist and turn this all you want. And for him to say the final boss's work is done. What are you talking about? Dude, your work just started. Is he in an alternate universe where his definition of telling stories is to show up every 6 months, start angles, or do random things that have no actual destination and make you think and wonder, and the fans are wondering what this could be and the tied in and all this, and he shows up at Bad Blood, and then he shows up at Netflix, and then he shows up at Chamber, and he's here and there, and then he doesn't show up at WrestleMania? No. The final boss, which we all agree is one of the best versions of The Rock ever. No, your work is not done. Not even close. Not even close. And for him to also say, and I don't know if he meant this kind of tongue in cheek, one of the best, he said the biggest angle in professional wrestling history. No, it's not. It's one of the biggest heel turns in professional wrestling, no doubt. One of the best angles. No, I could think of just a couple better ones. Just one or two. Hell, I don't know, Austin McMahon, just to name one. Wildly more successful and went on for 3 years. That helped establish the company firmly in modern culture. Rock Austin, Taker and Kane and their story with the Brothers of Destruction, just to name a couple. All right. HBK Triple H, one of the best rivalries of all time. Some of the best intertwined stories of all time. So I don't. What are you talking about? For him to just say it's the best angle of all time, according to who? According to who? Yeah, it got people talking. It was a surprise to a lot of people that Cena turned heel. We never thought we'd see it, and we got it. But just because it's surprising doesn't mean it's automatically the best angle of all time. Why? Angles aren't a singular moment. Angles are a arc of a story, and when you don't have one of the main pillars of the person who's telling the story and that's involved in the story there, kind of hard to declare that it's the best angle of all time there, Dwayne. A little bit difficult. These excuses are getting lamer. Well, let's see. I won't. I know there's like 4 more minutes. I'm not going to play it all, but let's hear one more clip here.
That's just me creatively. There are a lot of minds in the room. That's my thought. But still, ultimately, the bottom line was I love John getting 17. And I never had a concern about John pulling this off. My thoughts are always to Cody because of what we've established with him and his story and the kind of babyface that he is. So if done right, and I think if finessed right, and if nuanced right, down the road, that guy not only has an incredible babyface run again as champion, but also just an unheard of run as a heel.
Yeah.
Down the road.
Let's talk about you saying the final boss needs to step away to, kind of let the spotlight be where it should be with John and Cody, who, potentially you talk about John being the GOAT. There's a chance Cody, when it's all said and done, is also trying to vie for a spot on that Mount Rushmore rock with his dad on the backside with you raising your eyebrow. A lot of people just assumed you were going to show up. So when Travis Scott comes out, they think there's a chance of maybe, there's going to be a reunion from the Elimination Chamber. What are your thoughts on Travis Scott getting involved and you saying, I need to stay out of that? Was there ever a moment where anybody was trying to tell you differently? Like, no, Final Boss, anytime you're around is a good thing, not a bad thing.
No, well, they don't have to say anything like that to me. And they know when I come to them, and them meaning Triple H and Nick and Ari as well, and I lay this out and I say, hey, here's how I really feel it should go. We can insert Final Boss in the end of this finish, but then where do we go? There's other commitments that I have, and I want to also be careful that we're not overstepping and leading over our skis too much here. Can get involved in the finish, and I said, but why get involved in that finish when the spotlight should just be on, in my opinion, John, 17, heel champion. What does 2025 look like if this man is saying he's going to ruin professional wrestling?
Well, great, Rock. If the spotlight should only be on John Cena, heel turn 17, what does 2025 look? Then why insert yourself at all? Why even do anything? If there is no payoff that is in a reasonable time frame, I don't want to hear, well, wait till we're going to knock your socks off, pal, in another 18 months. Stop it. I'm all for long-term storytelling, but I've never seen storytelling like this that is hey, we're going to bring the biggest star ever in. It's going to lead to the biggest heel turn that you've ever seen in the modern times anyway. And for a lot of people's lifetimes, many people didn't see the Hogan Bash at the Beach turn. Then the guy that instigated the turn, he's going to just go away. You're not going to see him anymore. It's going to be about, oh, well, John Cena, well, I don't, the spotlight's not on me. I have nothing to do with it. Hey, Rock, I have a finish. Real simple. I laid it out where you don't have to overcommit to anything with, we all know you're a busy dude, and I don't want to hear any more about his schedule. I don't want to hear it. That is, it doesn't matter to me anymore. That's not an excuse anymore. Even though he does have a busy schedule, I don't doubt that he does. But my problem is, if your schedule's that busy and you can't commit to actually following through on a story that you started, your character started, don't bother to start one at all. Just get off my screen. Stay home. Work behind the scenes. Conference call, video in with Nick Khan and Ari and Triple H. Fine. You do that all you want. But then get the hell off my screen. Don't show up every 6 months and then disappear when it matters most. But the finish that you're saying, well, we don't want to go over our skis too much. No, you don't need to have anything with the final boss lead to a match if you don't want a match. You even alluded to the fact that we're not going to do a match with your character, and we didn't, and we all kind of accepted it begrudgingly. But at least we said, well, he'll at least be there. Right? He'll be there, he'll take a bump, probably a stunner, and leave. That's all you needed to do. I'm not saying you're going to start a program with Austin. Of course not. That ship sailed 20 years ago. But you could have done it in the spirit of WrestleMania. Not every moment, and a lot of big moments at WrestleMania don't lead to anything that has a long story arc. They're just moments. And that's all that needed to be for your character, was just that moment of helping John. And you know what's worse? Not only did he not appear, again, these excuses are lame. They are lame. For such an intelligent guy, that in fact they can't comprehend why, or maybe he does and he's just deodorizing it, why fans are just so disappointed and the goodwill's being chipped away is kind of mind-boggling. He can't comprehend that. He does speak like a politician, so you really need to weed out about half of what he says to get to the context, to get to the stuff that normal people like you and I speak like. He's been very much trained to speak politically. Not saying he's going to have a political run, although he may, and he'll probably be successful because of just generally people like him. But he speaks politically. He speaks around things. He doesn't speak directly. He may speak to Triple H, Paul Levesque. He may speak to those people directly, although maybe even those, especially any of the corporate higher-ups, he does speak in that. It's like he has a word count he has to meet or something. He has like a minimum amount of words. You'll have like one direct idea, like, hey, let's. I don't think I should be there. It doesn't make sense for me to be there. This is about John. And he'll say 5 minutes of something that you could have just said that I said in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bunch of fluff padded around an actual direct idea. That's how politicians speak. Okay. He speaks like a politician, so that makes it even more infuriating. There's no direct talk. There's no just, hey, here's my idea. Here's why I didn't think it was a good idea. I wish I was there. We probably, in hindsight, I probably should have been there. Fine. I would accept that. If he had come back and said, we had kind of toyed with the idea. It was a mistake on our part, but don't worry. We have ways of making things whole. Fine. Great. You make mistakes. But instead, Triple H comes out and said it was the most epic WrestleMania of all time. I don't think it was. And he's talking about, well, what would you do? This is the last point, guys. Okay, I promise. We're going to get to Raw. I talked 20 minutes about this, but it is such a sticking point for myself and a lot of you that The Rock was not there, because it hammered the story. It left our otherwise great night 2. It left a bad taste in our mouth. It was put perfectly by JD from NY. I'm generally a fan of what he has to say. I see why he's so popular. So shout out to JD from NY. He's really good. But he said that night 1, the main event saved the show, where night 2, the show saved the main event. Because it couldn't be more true. Night 2, if it wasn't so damn good before the main event, would have been a horrible WrestleMania overall. Outside of the night 1 main event, which was excellent. Probably the best match of the entire event. Followed closely by the women's triple threat. But the point I was going to make is about the whole, well, where do we go from here? And if I'm there, what does that mean? Again, Rock, it doesn't need to mean anything. Just look at last year. Look at last year. I didn't need a bloodline rules craziness ending to last year. But The Undertaker shows up for no reason. Are we supposed to think at the end of that you're going to start a program with The Undertaker? Right? Are you going to start a program with John Cena, which, by the way, he gave him an FU or he gave him a rock bottom at last year's WrestleMania? Did we think that was going to lead to a match between John Cena and The Rock? No. We knew what it was. It was just what it was in the moment for WrestleMania. More often than not, those big moments that happen at WrestleMania lead to nothing. And as fans, we understand that. We know that. So that whole excuse of the final boss, well, what does that lead to? I have commitments. Yeah, we know. We understand. Yeah, we totally get it. And again, the idea that you weren't there is bad enough. And then for you to essentially be a total non-mention in the lead up to the match with Cody was also insane. We still don't know. We have answers to almost nothing. Almost nothing. We understand from John Cena why he said he's turned, because he just, the dysfunctional relationship with the fans, and I'm sure he does have a lot of frustration that has manifested over the years that he's able to pull from, and that's all fine and well. But yeah, we still don't know what the whole deal with The Rock is. When The Rock gave him the signal, what does that mean? When did John Cena decide to align with The Rock? What does this alliance mean? We don't know. How was he able to pull John Cena in to do this? Right? We don't know. Like big things in the story. So The Rock wasn't even mentioned. There's not even a tie-in to this. So, and again, with Travis Scott, what's he there for? Why is he, out of the entire population of Earth, the one guy that WWE is like, hey, you know what? You know, it'd be awesome. A great guy to put in the main event. Dwayne's not going to be there, but I got a great substitute. How about Travis Scott? Did everyone in the boardroom go a gasp and just totally fawn over this genius idea? Whose idea was it to bring this clown show in? Plus, you have freaking Cody Rhodes not give a receipt to Travis Scott after what happened at Elimination Chamber. And I'm not talking a pro wrestling receipt. I'm talking a true punch to the face, just as he did to Cody. He didn't show any kind of set when it came to John Cena, not hitting him in the head with the belt, not kicking John Cena in the nuts, just like John Cena did to him twice, beat him senseless, bloodied him. Yeah. How are we supposed to get behind this guy? You just totally wrecked Cody Rhodes' babyface character. And then you don't give us half the story. That's kind of important. Okay, I'll stop there. It's been 25 minutes. I could continue, but I won't, because there's so much else to get to on Monday Night Raw. I didn't even talk about Raw yet. This is just something that has been weighing on me because I saw it come out, and it's as lame of an excuse as you can really imagine from Dwayne. So the last thing I'll say is, Dwayne, if you have no intention, if your final boss character has no intention of following through on a storyline, even on a semi-consistent basis, and what we mean by that is at least be there maybe once a month, even like every 6 weeks, we would accept that. And show up for when the events matter, the PLEs are big, that the story's coming to a crescendo. If you can't make those commitments because of your other stuff that you're doing, which you're doing a billion other things, we know that, which I'm tired of hearing about. We've heard about it through the years. Then just don't bother at all. Don't. We don't need it. As good as your character is, just don't. Then if you're so concerned about the spotlight just being on the guys that are in the matches, fine. That's cool. Then leave it there and don't come in and out. Don't poke your head in the window at all then. Leave it be. If you're so concerned about the spotlight being there, then your character should not be on TV ever again. Okay. So let's get to Raw. Let's get to Raw. Speaking of John Cena, okay, because he opened the show with his dark John Cena entrance. And he told the fans that just because they're in a good mood doesn't mean he can't still tell them to go straight to hell. He said the fans owe him an apology, but they don't have the courage to do it. He brought up being the episode of Raw where fans usually hijack the show, and he told them they've gone soft, which it has been. And you know, the crowd was pretty hot. It wasn't your highest bar ever crowd that you've heard from a Raw-After-Mania. You know, there's been some hot ones. Honestly, I don't even know the last time that we got one of those crowds. Now since then, you know, we've had some pretty crappy Raw-After-Manias. Last year's was underwhelming. I remember even a couple under the Vince McMahon era, more than a couple, were very underwhelming. Felt like another Monday Night Raw. And the last one I can remember is WrestleMania 33 when Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker, and the Raw-After-Mania, the crowd just told Roman to F himself when he was still the big dog. That's the last time I can remember a hijack of sorts. I think as fans, we need to kind of set the bar a little lower for Raw-After-Mania, or maybe just recalibrate a bit. So, the fans actually chanted, "We're sorry," and Cena says it's filled with the sorriest lowlifes he's ever seen, and told the fans they don't mean anything to him, and fine. He said he took their best shots at him for 25 years and asked what made them think they would be the crowd to crack him, and he brought up the 36 dates, which is now down to 27. And then he had a great line. He said, it's only down to 27 appearances, 27 dates. He said, it's not matches, it's appearances. You say I can't wrestle? I don't have to. That was a great line. I just have to show up and do this. When that hits 0, the professional wrestling timeline stops cold. So that was good. And then he continued to attack the fans. And Cena said Cody was outclassed, out-wrestled, and flat-out destroyed at WrestleMania. He said there was no one in WWE with the strength, speed, wisdom, or ruthless aggression. Call back to his 02 promo. And Cena said, unlike the fans, he has a heart, and he held up the championship and told them to take a picture. That's when Randy Orton appeared behind him, hit an RKO, and then he stood up holding the belt, and the music played, and Orton was... I mean, it felt like 20 minutes that Cena was selling the RKO knockout. I mean, it felt just like... I mean, that may have been the longest sell of an RKO I've ever seen. But here we go. It's somewhat predictable. The reason is, look where Backlash is at. Randy's hometown. So when you look at that, probably should have seen it coming, which kind of tells you also, with Kevin Owens, if he had not got injured, he probably would have lost to Randy Orton, because if he loses to Randy Orton, then rather Randy Orton loses to KO, it wouldn't have made sense for him to then have a title shot against John Cena at Backlash. So you kind of figured that KO was going to lose anyway, but it's pretty much confirmed now. Kind of sad. I feel bad for KO. Imagine KO watching Joe Hendry come out thinking, I'm happy for this kid, but god dang, I wish I could be here. Yeah, I feel for him. So There we go. We got John Cena. We got Randy Orton, a matchup that once John Cena announced that he was going to have his final year here, that we thought, okay, they got to do Randy and Cena. Well, here we go. Randy and John Cena for the WWE Championship. A match that, Randy Orton's not going to win. There's just almost no chance. John Cena is going to carry that championship probably through SummerSlam. SummerSlam, as I usually say, when champions win matches or win it for the first time at WrestleMania, you really only can look till SummerSlam for the very first opportunity for them to maybe discuss dropping the belt. And I think that's no different this year with John Cena. And it's going to be interesting, too, how as they approach December, how they're going to turn him back babyface. That's going to be fascinating. How do they do that? We'll see. All right. So then we have more. God, their obsession with celebrity shots. They spend more time showing us celebrities that most of us have never heard of than they do on some of the talent. So we then had Becky Lynch and Lyra take on Liv and Raquel for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I have to say, I did not see this one coming, as Lynch and Lyra lose in 12 minutes to Liv and Raquel. So the Tag Team Championships dropped, and I'm thinking, okay, wow, that's shocking. So they brought in Becky to win a championship with Lyra, just to have them drop it the next night. Okay, fine. You knew that Lyra 2 belts was not going to last long. And you knew Becky as a tag team champion wasn't going to last long. So you knew at the max, they were going to lose it at Backlash. That would have been the furthest they've gone. Well, they lasted 24 hours. And Liv and Raquel recaptured the championship. And the finish was Morgan hitting a distracted Valkyria with Oblivion. So Oblivion is one of the least kicked out finishes of all time. I only think like 1 or 2 people have done it. So, maybe somebody should adopt Oblivion in the men's. Maybe Cody should just adopt Oblivion as his finish, because we all know that Crossroads ain't cutting it. So after that, though, Lynch consoled Valkyria, hugged her, and then hit her with a clothesline. She was yelling at her. Fans are booing. Lynch then came back and hit some bad-looking punches on Valkyria and hit 2 manhandle slams. And the crowd was chanting one more time. And boy, they love to do this. They did this with Bronson Reed. They've done it with others as well. And by the way, I miss Bronson Reed. I hope he comes back soon. I was enjoying his run, especially the program he had with Braun Strowman. But she hit 2 manhandle slams, right? The crowd's chanting one more time. She just turned heel, right? And what does she do? She listens to the crowd and gives her a 3rd manhandle slam. Why? You just turned. You gain nothing as a heel from hitting her with a 3rd. Nothing. So that made no sense. I've never seen that before. Has she not taken heel 101? I mean, is there a course that WWE offers? Maybe she should take it again. I've never seen that. Your entire goal as a heel, like your primary focus, is to anger the crowd. Don't do anything they want you to do. And what does she do 10 seconds after she turns heel? Gives the crowd what they want. What? And the crowd cheers. That was stupid. I don't mind the turn. I don't think Becky Lynch as a heel really worked the first time. Maybe she's got a reimagined idea that will prove me wrong, and I hope it does. But she's just, I guess, the household of the Rollins is now all evil. So, all right. Let's see. We got then New Day, the new WWE World Tag Team Champions, come out. And the Woods told the fans to get on their knees, raise their hands, and scream out, "Thank God for the New Day." And that's when Alpha Academy comes out and Maxine Dupree. And, Maxine on the mic, I have to say, she's pretty good. More confident than I ever imagined. She called Otis and Tozawa to take the New Day down, and we get an official match for the World Tag Team titles. But Rusev comes out. Crowd popped. Cole said, there were rumors. He's back. Rusev comes out. New Day leaves. And you don't know what Rusev's going to do here. You're not sure. He looks great, by the way. I really enjoy his look. It's more mature. It's more. It just feels like he's more comfortable in who he is. We haven't heard from him at all yet, obviously, but I don't know. I enjoyed what I saw at least, and hopefully he's not just duplicating what the Rusev character was previously. Although we did hear Rusev Day chants, so the crowd didn't forget. And Rusev though roughs up Otis and Tozawa. Looks down at New Day. Tozawa went for a crossbody block, but Rusev caught him and executed a fallaway slam. And that's when Rusev hit the Accolade finish on Otis. And the referee tried to pull him off. And the crowd chanting Rusev Day. Crowd loved it. I would imagine he's going to be a heel, I guess. Also, I didn't really watch his work as Miro in AEW. His bicep injury, I looked at him when he came out and I go, what's wrong with his arm? Now, again, I'm not privy. I didn't really follow him. I didn't know he had a bicep injury. But like half his bicep on his right arm, I believe, is missing. He had a massive injury that happened. But it might have happened a lot longer ago than I thought, but somehow I've missed it. So he got like half of his bicep missing, and I go, what? Is he just not using? Does he go to the gym and only lift with his left side of his body? I don't know. It looks weird, right? Because his bicep is just a quarter of the size of his left bicep. But I mean, I didn't know about it. So anyway, I wish Rusev the best. I do wonder what they have in store for him. Alrighty, so we didn't get a full turn here from Finn Balor. They seemed like they were going to come to blows on the back with Dom, and Finn said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and congratulated Dom. And so they're teasing that. That's when Io Sky comes out, and you deserve a chant. She said it was the best night of her career. She said the fans will never forget her. It's nice to give her more than like 3 words to say. I understand she has a heavy accent, but I can still understand her much more than Asuka. And I'm glad that they were able to give her something of substance to say. That was good, and the crowd loved her. That's when Stephanie Vekur, I hope I said that. Vekur? Oh, God. Stephanie comes out. And the crowd really reacted nicely. Again, that's why we have our NXT guys. All right. Jay does a great job covering NXT. That's why I don't. All right. And I've seen the name, but I've never had to pronounce it because she's never on the main show. So Stephanie congratulates Sky, introduced herself as the NXT Women's Champ. And then she said she was there to show respect to Sky. La Premiera chant broke out. And then she said she wants to fight the best of the best. And Sky accepted. And that's when Adam Pearce comes out and said it's official. And boy, this was a good match. Really, just excellent. Match that makes sense that there wasn't really a true finish. Both of these women aren't really ready for each other yet for a determination to be definitively made. It was to more introduce what Stephanie can do to the main audience that haven't seen her work in NXT, and give you a little preview of what could be coming down the line. So it was fine because we ended up getting this to be a schmaz finish, and Perez is the reason for that. 14 minutes, by the way. Excellent. It gave it exactly the right amount of time, and otherwise really good match. And Rhea Ripley coming out too. After Perez came out and was trying to beat down on the women, and Rhea Ripley comes out, cleared Perez from the ring, and she then spotted, was it Julia, I guess. See, again, guys, I don't watch NXT. Before she could hit her from behind, and then Ripley circled the ring, locking eyes with her, and Julia exited the ring. Is it Gulia? Someone's good out there going, oh my God, he doesn't know what the name of that is. No, I don't, because hence we have an NXT host. But Julia exited the ring and headed back with Perez. So Ripley held up the women's championship. Sky got to her feet, and then Ripley held out the belt. Sky tried to take it, but Ripley held on. Essentially, Ripley said, I'm still coming for this, and that's what Cole said. So the one thing I noticed, though, Ripley purposefully left her black eye without her goth makeup. Interesting. I mean, I know she's trying to show her. I would imagine she did it for the visual, but also it could be a reason. I mean, if there was a reason to not put makeup on that area, makes sense. So it was just an interesting choice. Like, wouldn't you want to cover up the bruise? I mean, unless she's trying to, it's like a badge of honor that she was just trying to show everybody. Nonetheless, it was a really good segment here. I enjoyed it. Stephanie Vacour, I guess, it's my first time seeing her work, and boy, I'm very excited about what could happen when she comes to the main roster. Io Sky is on fire. Rhea Ripley is still right up there as well. And, Bianca Belair, who is still on SmackDown, by the way. We'll have to see how long her babyface run lasts, if it's not already done. So this was a really fun segment. Really fun. I'm fine with the non-finish, too. Okay. We then had Jey Uso come out wearing a World Heavy Yeet Champion shirt, and he's standing next to the fans and doing the Yeet chant and the arms and all that, and a You Deserve It chant, a one more time chant. And he went up to the ropes, pumped his arms, and Jay dropped down and smiled, and he said, which again, it felt like forever, Jey Uso's entrances are becoming unnecessarily long. I understand that this is his first time as champion, and he deserves it, fine. But the one at WrestleMania was just, it took like 10 minutes. All he has to do is walk to the ring from the steps. It takes an unnecessary amount of time, but I'm happy for him. He said, I said the new World Heavyweight Champion is now in your city, and said he's wanted to say that since he was a kid, and he can now, and it's been a long, hard road. He said he gave it all to beat Gunther. I made him tap. He said he tapped out, and Jay told the fans he's very grateful to happy to have the belt. And he said if the fans were happy to see him as champion, you should give him a yeet. Everybody yeeted. Sami Zayn comes out. Sami Uso chants broke out when he came out, and he said that he didn't even know where to begin. He almost didn't come to Vegas. Missing WrestleMania was hard on him. I do believe that in real life. But he had to stand in the ring and tell him how proud he was of him. You're my brother, you're my dog, you're my oos, and you deserve that. And crowd loved it. Zayn said it was the Raw after WrestleMania, and he didn't want to get all sentimental, and said that they were there to celebrate. He called for Jay's music to hit. He shook Jay's hand, and then they both went to the ropes. And that's when Jimmy Uso also comes out, hugs Sammy. It was just one big, celebration for Jay, and good for him. Good for him, despite the fact that a lot of people were just befuddled by Gunther's insanely fast tap out, which I still just shake my head at every time I think about it. Made no sense at all. That is the polar opposite of how you protect a guy like Gunther and still drop the belt. I just don't understand. You not only have him tap out, but tap out quickly. It's horrible. Horrible. But in this segment here with Jay and with Jimmy and with Sammy, you guys were probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Here we go. Haluva kick. When he was standing there watching Jay, you're thinking, oh crap. Haluva kick. Sammy versus Jay. Here it comes. Now, it still could happen. We don't have an opponent to the best of my knowledge for Jey Uso, unless it's by default Gunther. But we don't have anything, I don't think, official for Backlash for Jey Uso and defending the world title. So Sammy could eventually squeak his way in there. No. But I would think it's probably a rematch with Gunther. Then we get Logan Paul. And he's being interviewed. This is from after WrestleMania 31, though. It wasn't live in ring. He's being interviewed by Kathy Kelly and asked if he thought he could have beaten AJ Styles without the help from Karrion Kross. Paul was bothered by the question. He said the bottom line is he won and he'll face anyone the company puts in front of him. He said he's the best and he'll continue his WrestleMania winning streak. And that's when Jackie Redmond interviewed AJ Styles backstage. And he said, yeah, I lost, but he'll bounce back. That's when Karrion Kross, who got a big pop from the crowd, interrupted Styles and said he was upset with Styles for not using the brass knucks. And Styles said he would never go back to what Kross wants him to do because he hated himself and said Kross could be angry with the world, but he's not going to take him down as well. And he said, and this is the most interesting line of the whole thing, he said, if he had a problem with that, he should go solve it. And that's when Karrion Kross said, maybe I will. And if you haven't seen the Karrion Kross, by now, it's gone massively viral. The Karrion Kross interview with Sam Roberts, I think it was. I mean, it wasn't even an interview. It was just Karrion Kross going off. Take 5 minutes and watch it. It'll get you really excited for Karrion Kross if they decide to capitalize on this, and I hope they do. It could have been his Miz on Talking Smack moment with Daniel Bryan. Remember that? Could be that moment for Karrion Kross. Except a lot more successful. All right. So then we get the sneak peek at the WWE Unreal docuseries. That'll premiere this summer on Netflix. I can't tell you how much I despise this show already. While my morbid curiosity will still probably watch it, I don't really want to because it's the last shred of any kind of mystery of professional wrestling being brought into the limelight. They have, to an embarrassing degree, brought professional wrestling into a meta state that it constantly needs to make sure it's reminding people that what you're watching isn't real. From the language they use in promos to bringing the terms babyface and heel into the promos, to Triple H constantly having to be out there at the beginning of every PLE. My God, I don't need to see Triple H do that anymore. It's some kind of weird obsession, some kind of pattern he needs to be in. I don't know what it is. I don't dislike Triple H. I have nothing against him, but I don't need to see him come out. It must be some self-fulfilling thing. He just wants a taste of the crowd, and I can't blame him, but as a fan, I don't need to see him come out every single time and welcome us to SummerSlam or welcome to WrestleMania. Dude, go. Yeah, we know where we are. We know. Got it. You know, I think we know what the hell we're watching. Okay, goodbye. Yeah, anyway, so they are on this mission to make sure that fans are as the least amount, that's the phrase I'm looking for, of emotional investment as possible. That must be their mission statement. That must be TKO's new internal project, is to make sure, hey guys, I don't know if you heard, new mission. We have a new goal as a company. We want to make sure that our fans are fully aware that professional wrestling isn't real. And we want to make sure that they know it's predetermined. And not only do we want to make sure but we want to make sure they know that during the show, and we want to now bring them into how we write the shows and the discussions about the shows. And the one little piece that the fans haven't seen and don't see, we're going to let them see it. So the curtain's fully pulled back. So yeah, isn't that great? No. I can't believe this. And the one last remaining piece that you're like, we talk about it here. You don't know what's going on in the boardrooms, and we don't know what's going on in the production meetings. We don't know what's going on in the creative talks. Well, now I guess we're going to know. But, I mean, they showed a clip during the show of, hey guys, here's how we wrote tonight's show. Isn't that great? Now, by the way, go and cheer this person that's playing a character that we just came up with and told them to do what they're about to do. Go cheer. Do they understand how human beings work? Did they do? I mean, emotional investment forever and always will forever be how companies in the entertainment space make money. Forever. Because if you're emotionally invested in a product, TV show, movie series, sports, and simulated sports like pro wrestling, especially pro wrestling that needs to rely on storytelling, the only way you get invested and cheer or boo and buy the product, buy the t-shirts, buy the merch, buy Peacock, buy Netflix so you can watch Raw is through emotional investment. Because if you don't give a damn about something as a person, you just don't waste your time on it. You move on. Unless your kids, of course, are into it, and then, that's a little different. But I've never seen a company almost try to self-sabotage itself or outsmart itself by making sure we're all aware of what we're watching. Why do we need to see this? No one... I don't know what research and development they did for this particular show that would tell them, hey, fans are really, you should hear it out there, guys on the streets. They are dying to know how we come up with the storylines we do. No, I don't need to see. I don't need to hear the how the watch is made completely. Just tell me the time. I don't know. I know that a lot of people tune into this, but they are just totally put in a shredder, throwing in the last piece of mystery. And I hate it. I hate it. And it's just, it's a totally different product. And then you look at the ring nowadays, again, it's covered in advertising. It's sponsors, right? The ring is in sponsorships. The turnbuckles have an individual sponsor on them. I understand that with no cable, you have to make up that revenue. I get that. But you're putting the gosh dang sponsors in the middle of the ring so we can never, ever be fully focused on the wrestlers because we have to see a freaking Snickers logo every time we turn around, or a Fortnite logo every time we turn around. Every time we look at our TV screens. There, who was that? Slim Jim? Oh, cool. I'm going to snap into a Slim Jim tonight. The presentation obviously has changed. I guess I'm the old guy now. So let's continue. Going on a lot of tangents tonight. So Gunther ends up, targeting the announcers, puts Michael Cole, which is always funny seeing him get beat up, puts him in a sleeper hold. Pat McAfee defends Cole. He ends up paying for it by getting a sleeper hold put on him for an extended period of time. McAfee gets put to the trainer's room. Cole, is trying to play the concerned friend, and that's cool. I mean, I don't mind seeing those two on air trying to defend each other. It makes sense. And, seeing Cole go back to the announce desk, Joe Tessitore ends up taking the place of Pat McAfee. I like Tessitore. I mean, and people are starting to turn a little bit on Pat McAfee, a little bit. I mean, I can see why they do it. I don't dislike Pat McAfee. He still brings a bunch of energy to the show. Does he say stupid things? Yeah, because he talks too much. I think he says too much on commentary, I think. Joe Tessitore is more business. I like Joe Tessitore's all business approach, where Pat McAfee's all about making sure he, slides in the latest pop culture reference to let you know he's still in tune with what's going on. And it's fine. He's a smart guy, very successful guy. Clearly loves professional wrestling. And he just says sometimes some dumb things on commentary. Anyway, so let's continue. Again, Gunther, I don't know if he's really going to get his swag back by attacking Michael Cole. I understand it'll get you heel heat, which is fine. Like, because the fans have finally, after 30 years, endeared themselves to Cole. It took forever, but they have. And seeing him attack Cole, again, you'll get some heat, but it's not going to do the one thing it needs to do for you, and that is reestablish you as Gunther, a badass. Make fans forget you tapped out. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. But it does get you heat. So there's that. Alrighty. So, it may lead to a Pat McAfee versus Gunther match. I could see that happening. Not at a PLE, but as a couple minute Raw, match or something. So Dom Mysterio versus Penta for the IC title. This ends in 8 minutes with Dom beating Penta in 8 minutes. The finish was Penta rolling Dom back inside the ring and goes up top. JD McDonough shows up. Yeah, I forgot about him too. And pushed Penta off the top rope. Dom hit his frog splash and got the victory. Fans are finally with Dom here. And it's fun to see. As I mentioned on the WrestleMania review, it's just, he's the lovable loser, but also the dude that slips into victories and could very much take in a Eddie Guerrero type of persona where he lies, cheats, and steals, but it's endearing. He's goofy. He's already gotten his ass kicked a million times. He's somehow found a way to come back full circle. And I'm for it. I think Dom could be pretty successful as a babyface because he's funny. And I think that if he brings out that humor, but finds a way to lie, cheat, and steal his way to victory, and really harnesses the Eddie Guerrero personality, I think he could be very successful. Dom has got that kind of swag about him. He's not a legitimate badass. He's very good in the ring, but he's not very intimidating. He'll be smaller than 90% of his opponents. But if he's able to somehow cleverly find a way to win matches, or slip on a banana peel and find a way, I think that's how you get Dom over. All right. I'm not saying every match needs to be like that. He could legitimately win some matches just through pure wrestling. But some of the charm of this character, I think, could be enhanced by the Eddie Guerrero, channeling Eddie Guerrero's spirit here. So, also, Balor didn't attack Dom in this match. I thought he would. And nope, no Dom turn yet, just like no Solo turning on Jacob Fatu yet. I guess both of those are in the shoot, and that's fine. Not everything needed to happen at WrestleMania. So, all right. Seth Rollins comes out, and they were shown. Well, Seth Rollins and Heyman were shown arriving. Seth comes out, and a thank you Seth, an OTC, and F you Heyman chants started, and CM Punk comes out. Once in the ring, Punk got the better of Rollins. There was just some fighting, and then Punk put the boots to Rollins, turned to Heyman, who said he didn't screw Punk. Punk grabbed Heyman, but Rollins gouged his eyes from behind, gave him the stomp, and that's when executive producer credits were shown. So that was interesting that they decided, I guess it's over, but there were still 5 minutes left. That's when Heyman got the mic and said they would conclude WrestleMania 41 weekend by propelling the news that all the way to WrestleMania 42, that Rollins is the new reigning, defending, undisputed number one top star in the industry. I don't know how this has anything to do with WrestleMania 42. I thought he was going to say he's the number one contender or he's going to be champion at WrestleMania 42. He's just the number one top star going into WrestleMania 42. Kind of, maybe I missed something here, but that seemed like a bit of a disconnect for me. So Roman comes out and he ends up spearing Rollins, turns to Heyman, drops him with a Superman punch, and then Heyman, he was speared by someone wearing a black hoodie. Roman was, and ends up being Braun Breaker. And Breaker charged, ran right past Rollins, speared Punk, and then Rollins put his armor on Breaker and said, "That's my boy." He ends up spearing Reigns through the barricade in the timekeeper's area, and Rollins gave Punk another stomp, and all three men, Heyman, Rollins, and Breaker, are standing tall to end the show. Good segment. I don't know if they're going to call this the new Dangerous Alliance, the modern day evolution. If there's more people to be added, I think there will be. This is good. I think that this was a very effective post Raw-After-Mania. One of the better ones in recent years. Again, not to belabor the point, but no Dwayne is just inexcusable. Even if he showed up at Raw-After-Mania, it still wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have made his lack of appearance at WrestleMania 41 okay, but it would have at least softened the blow. But the fact we got no Dwayne, which at this point just, I've kind of gone, just stay away then. Anyway, as I said at the beginning, for 25 minutes, just if you have no intention of doing anything, just go away then. We'll be fine without you. But no Dwayne there was kind of like, oh, okay, I guess we are done with the final boss for now, and until he decides to come out of the shadows at SummerSlam or Survivor Series and then talk about WrestleMania 42 and disappear again. But overall, taking out that was a very effective WrestleMania. You got 2 heel turns, Braun Breaker, Becky Lynch. You got Jey Uso as world champion in a very feel-good moment with Sammy and Jimmy. You got Gunther trying to get his heat back, although not and his cachet, not exactly going to do that by attacking Cole, but still Gunther is infuriated, attacking announcers, which is funny. You got Rusev coming out and attacking Otis and Tozawa. You got Randy Orton RKOing John Cena, so you know where that's going to lead. You talk about a storied rivalry. My God, these two, John Cena and Randy Orton's history is just incredible. So they've got that. Just so much going on. Dominic Mysterio organically turned babyface. Lots happening here, guys. NXT call-ups, or at least NXT pop-ins, I should say. So it was a really good show. Enjoyed the hell out of it. New faction. It's going to be fun to see what they do on SmackDown. So that'll do it for me. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back on Friday for your mailbag. I'll even try to put in those voicemails maybe that I didn't get to last week. Unless those people send in new ones, in which case I'll just put the new ones on. So I appreciate it. If you guys want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can go ad-free. You can get an exclusive show. It's the After Dark show that's done every Wednesday. You can also even come on the show if you go up in tier high enough. So check out Patreon, but also Apple Podcasts and Spotify for ad-free experiences. So that'll do it for me, everybody. I appreciate it. And I did put out a tweet, my first viral tweet. It's closing in on 1 million views of the one of Austin who crashed first missed his ramp up at WrestleMania, not his crash at the barricade that knocked the woman over, but he missed his ramp going up to go down the long ramp. That's what took so long for Austin to come out at WrestleMania, because he missed the ramp. He really must have been hammered. So I think this is the last time we'll ever see Austin on an ATV, which thank God. I was never a fan of that. Just walk to the ring, dude. Please. Just walk to the ring. I don't need you coming down on a four-wheeler. That's never been my favorite Austin entrance, so now I think we can say goodbye and put that to rest. But that was a viral tweet that I put out, and probably my only viral tweet of my entire career, but still fun nonetheless. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. As always, take care. We'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.